Facebook is doubling down on its instant articles offering, and some publishing partners are definitely on board, according to Recode's Peter Kafka. Peter joins us now to talk about it. Welcome to the show, Peter.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Now, before we get into the news, can you remind us about what instant article is exactly and how it works?
So instant articles, just like it sounds, it's a way for Facebook first of all, technically Facebook's hosting an article from a publisher like the New York Times or BuzzFeed, and I think now Vox Media. And the idea on Facebook's end is, hey, you press a button, the stuff loads very quickly. It doesn't take 8 seconds to load. It shows up immediately on your page, on your iPhone app. So that's on the Facebook's end. On the publisher's end, what's a big deal about this is they're giving their content to Facebook. Facebook serving up the article directly, and also serving up the ads. And so there's a lot of hand wringing about, well, is this giving Facebook too much power and authority over sort of the publishing world?
And the Washington Post, as you reported, is going all in. Can you talk about the Washington Post's announcement? Or it's not an announcement, you broke the story.
Sure. Well, yeah, it's an announcement. The Post, and this is a symbolic move that's important for Facebook, and I think the Post as well is saying, everyone else up until now, there's been about 9 publishers that have done this, and they said, well, this is an experiment. The first day the New York Times did this, they published one post. They didn't publish another for a couple of weeks. Everyone's been sort of treating this gingerly, and the Post saying, we're just going to do all of our articles everywhere. The Post has done this in other places. As I pointed out in my article, they publish all their stuff through Flipboard as well, but no one cares because Flipboard's not a very big platform, and certainly not symbolically important. And again, the question that everyone's thinking about is, well, if the Post is going to publish its entire output on Facebook for free, isn't this essentially sort of ceding control of their digital property to Facebook? Post basically sort of shrugs and says, we don't care. We want to distribute our stuff as much as possible. And then obviously we think that people will see our stuff on Facebook and eventually come see our stuff on our platforms as well. But frankly, we don't care. We want to use Facebook as the big distribution engine it is.
Now, obviously, Facebook has a lot of eyeballs. If it's 2 per user, that you can imagine, I guess 2.8 billion eyeballs. Lots of bodies. But do people go to Facebook to read the Washington Post?
No, and I mean, I guess you could now if you really wanted to sort of do that hack. But I mean, people go to Facebook for a lot of reasons, and I think what the Washington Post is thinking is we want to get in front of some of those people who aren't necessarily going to the Post and saying, look, this is an article that's interesting. We published it. This is what all the publishers say. We sort of want to use Facebook's reach to sell our stuff, just like anybody else who advertises something on Facebook. I think they're just sort of looking at this as advertising for their product.
And, you have to wonder whether or not Jeff Bezos has his hand in this. He, of course, personally owns the Washington Post. Do we have any knowledge about how much he's involved in these kinds of decisions?
No, I mean, I don't know that he would care about this one in particular. Everything I've heard on the Post is Bezos says, go as fast as you can. If there's anything digitally related, I want you to do as much of it as possible. And they sort of have an unlimited briefing to sort of do whatever they want digitally as long as they do it quickly. So this sort of falls into that category. It sounds like to me the Post folks said this was a relatively simple thing for them to do technically, which of course the Facebook guys like to hear as well.
And I imagine that he was involved in offering the Washington Post for free to, I believe, Prime subscribers for 6 months, if I recall.
Right. The Facebook guys put this in this context. They say, look, we're doing this on Amazon Prime and pushing it out through Kindle, and we're going to do this lots of different places. We want as many people to see our stuff as possible. It's not so much that's particular to Facebook. It's just one avenue we're going to use.
Now, you reported a couple of weeks ago that Google and Twitter are collaborating on a sort of instant articles killer. Which do you think is more compelling to publishers? I mean, on the one hand, instant articles is pretty slick. It enables the articles to appear in their native format, or even better with live video and stuff instantly. And it looks great with the publisher's own design elements and so on. On the other hand, the Google and Twitter version doesn't really require any work on the part of the publishers. Which of these do you personally think is more compelling to publishers?
The Facebook's can argue, by the way, that their thing doesn't require any work either. They've got a long technical blog post that went up yesterday. Look, none of these platforms are saying we need exclusive content, and that includes Snapchat, that includes Apple. And until someone does, I think all the publishers are going to use all of these solutions. I mean, this was a big deal when it sort of first came to light a year ago as a concept. And I think most publishers now sort of moved past it. They said, look, these are distribution platforms. We've got to use them. It's great. There's a lot of them because it means they'll all compete for our stuff, and one of them can't have any more power than the other. The truth is they're not all created equally. Facebook's enormously important to all the publishers because it has so much reach. Google's a big deal as well, but people aren't going to Google for as much news. And Twitter is interesting for news junkies. But again, Twitter is much smaller than Facebook. So it's a pretty tough decision to not work with Facebook. I think the Wall Street Journal would be the most prominent publisher that hasn't agreed to do the Facebook Instant yet. But I assume they'll come on board sooner than later.